بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, I wrote a book and it took me about a year to finish, and alhamdulillah I finished it 2 months ago. And I started writing the book soon after the last JIMAS Conference. So the JIMAS Conference last year ended in April. I realized that I will be spending 6 months in this country, so I said I needed to do something useful. I went to Salah's library, I took all the seerah books that were available in Arabic, and then I began to write a seerah book. But then I realized that, no, this is not what I want to do. I want to actually write a self-development book that is based on the seerah. And I wanted to use Muhammad ﷺ as a role model. So I read a lot of self-development books, so I said, why not combine the two together? Write a self-development book that is based on seerah, and write a seerah book that will be used as a self-development book. And I wrote the book. I didn't bring a copy with me because it's not out yet, but I have the manuscript. It's in Arabic. And inshallah, plans are that I will translate it to English, and then maybe it will be available maybe after a year from now. The title of the book, preliminary, might be called Follow, from Twitter, and from the verse, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي, then follow me. How can Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam make you extraordinary? So that's the title of the book. About 7 chapters. The first chapter is called The Child, and here I talk about the childhood of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and I say every child, based on the experience of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, needs 2 things. He needs emotional fulfillment, emotional care. That is what will build his emotional intelligence, and that comes through love, respect, and believing in him. And this was the title of my talk, if you remember the first talk I gave. This is where it was coming from. And then the second chapter is his environment. I began to talk about Mecca, the people of Mecca, the women of Mecca, the children of Mecca, the desert, the environment, the weather, everything. And the conclusion was that despite the fact that we are the sons and daughters of our environment, we can master that environment. And I show glimpses of that in the life of Muhammad ﷺ before he became a prophet. The third chapter is called his relatives, or a'ilatuh, relatives. Here I go beyond the parents. I'm talking about the extended family. And the idea is that your extended family, or an extended family, should help the parents bring up a decent child. It opens up new horizons. It brings different experiences. Even if the grandfather is dead, you can revive his legacy by talking about him to your son. So your grandfather was this, your grandfather was this, as if the grandfather was alive. So basically resurrecting the concept of an extended family at a time where the West and modern societies focus on the nuclear family. The fourth chapter is called The Teenager. And I look at Muhammad ﷺ, the teenager, and how he moved in society as a teenager. And the overall ethos of a teenager, Muhammad the teenager, is that this is a period of learning. This is a period of gaining experience. This is the time that when he worked as a shepherd. This is the time when he traveled with his uncle to Asham. This is a time of learning. This is the time of gaining social skills, whatever a teenager might need. And then the other chapter following the teenager is Shababu, the adult. And here I talk about the adult serving society. Muhammad ﷺ now is working for Khadija. Muhammad ﷺ is helping rebuilding the Kaaba. Muhammad ﷺ is helping Quraysh sort out this dispute among themselves as who would position the black stone. So here the adult now passed the period of learning and now is contributing. The following chapter from that, I simply called it 40. And 40 to me is not a numerical, it's a state of mind, it's a phase. حتى إذا بلغ 40 سنة قال ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك. When he reaches the age of 40, he reaches that age of maturity that he says, oh Allah, help me recognize your ni'mah and make me thankful of it. And to me, 40 represents change. And then I begin to read all the literature in self-development about change. One of the books, of course, is called Switch, Why do people change? How do people change? Why do people resist change? And I try to superimpose it on the companions that changed and see how is it that their change can help me today change even if I'm already a Muslim. How could it change me from someone who smokes to someone who quits smoking, someone on drugs, someone who listens to music on an addictive level? How can I change? How does Uthman, how does Umar, as someone who was alcoholic, and as soon as he became a Muslim, he quitted drinking. How can this today help me as a Muslim, not as a mushrik, help me quit whatever I am addicted to? And then the last chapter is called 50. And 50 is not just an age of change, an age of maturity, it's an age of leadership. So when I saw the JIMAS Conference and I saw the titles, I straight away wrote to Brother Abu Muntasir. I said, I want to give this topic because it actually serves as the last chapter in the book, which is called Muhammad the Leader. Okay, so that's just a brief encounter of what this is about. Who is a leader? What is a leader? All of us are leaders. All of us in this hall are leaders. We tend to reduce the concept or confine leadership into an imam, a sheikh, a political leader. No. According to the hadith, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. You are all leaders as long as you are holding a responsibility. Even that boy who is smiling at the very back, if he's the oldest among his siblings, he is a leader. And in schools today, be it in the States or in the UK, they are teaching children to be leaders. So don't think that leaders is a big political term that is just confined to people, CEOs, founders of companies. We are all leaders. And the point is that whatever I'm going to say to you today about the leadership of Muhammad ﷺ, do not think about it in a way that there is a gap. I am X or Y or Z, he is the leader, and there is disconnect. No, this is a manual that I would like to be like, I would like to emulate. So this is where I'm coming from. Okay, if that is the case, then what is a leader? What is the definition of a leader? Well, just go to Google and write leader and see definitions. You will encounter millions of definitions, and they change all the time. But to me, in a nutshell, a leader is someone who makes people better. So really, a leader is not about a leader. A leader is not about himself. Leader is not to impress people. Leader is not to mesmerize people and make them all like him or love him or etc. If this happens, fine. If it doesn't, then fine. A leader is someone who tells the people and leads the people with the ethos that it's about you, not about me. I am here to lead you, not to lead you to control you. I am here to lead you to facilitate self-improvement. So a leader effectively is a servant. And with that, I would like to say that Muhammad ﷺ, when he came to Medina, he did not have religious authority over everyone in Medina because the majority of people in Medina, believe it or not, were non-Muslims. His authority was moral. His authority was based on credibility, on reputation. People of Medina were always suffering from civil wars, civil fights. If you go to Medina before Muhammad ﷺ arrived to it, first of all, it was not called Medina, it was called Yathrib. And you will see about 78 forts dividing the different clans and protecting each clan from another. And each clan is weaponizing itself to get ready to fight another clan should the need arise. They lacked a central policing. They lacked a central court system. They lacked a central prison. They lacked a central authority. And then they heard about this potential leader in Mecca who's able to garner all kind of support. He has wonderful ideas. He helped solve disputes between Quraysh. He helped rebuild the Kaaba. He's a Sadiq al-Amin. Okay, he is a Muslim. He happens to be a Muslim. We are not Muslims. But why not bring him and see if he can solve our problem? And that's why people of Medina gave their consent morally, not religiously, to Muhammad ﷺ. When Muhammad ﷺ, the first thing he did when he came, I'm talking about the leader, the servant now. You see the service being offered. First thing he did when he came, he said, I pronounce Yathrib a demilitarized zone. I'm going to make it haram as Mecca was made haram by Ibrahim. Now haram doesn't mean prohibited, means demilitarized zone. And for the first time, he stripped people out of their weapons. And he said that it becomes therefore sacred land as Mecca was sacred. So without the Kaaba being in Yathrib, he made Yathrib sacred. That was the first decision. And everyone, including the majority of the non-Muslims, benefited from that. That's the first thing he did. The second thing he did was, a lot of the companions, including Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, incidentally, one of the names of, one of the meanings of Yathrib is unhealthy air, because the air of Yathrib is unhealthy. Reason being that Yathrib had a lot of mosquitoes. Because Yathrib, unlike Mecca, is not dry. It is exposed continuously to rains. And the rain come in valleys in Medina. Medina is full of valleys. So when the rain comes, there are no channels for the rain to go. So they settle. The water settles. And with the settlement of the water, you begin to have these small ponds which attract mosquitoes. So that's why when Bilal and Abu Bakr and Uthman and Rasul Sallam and the rest of the Sahaba, first they came, they caught fever. So much so that the Rasul Sallam says, oh, Ya Allah, make Medina as comfortable as Mecca is. And Bilal was saying all sorts of poetry about Mecca and making everyone cry because their temperature was more than 39 degrees. But the Rasul Sallam, the point I'm trying to get at, service, was not just confining himself to dua. What he did was fascinating. He hit two birds with one stone. He needed to create land to build houses for the Muhajirin who initially stayed in the houses of the Ansar on a temporary basis. So he went to this massive land that was full of ponds and dried it all out and ordered the Muhajirin with the help of the Ansar to build new houses in these spaces that, because of the central authority, were lacking leadership, and therefore no one figured out that why don't we urbanize these places? We get rid of the mosquito, we increase more space for people to live. It never clicked. Rasulullah came, dried the ponds, got rid of the mosquito, and built new houses to Muhajirin, and from that time, it was called Al-Medina Al-Munawwara, not Yathrib anymore. So what I'm trying to tell you is that he provided services. There is a saying of some leaders, people who write in the literature of leadership, they say, traditional leaders focus on roles and responsibilities. Real leaders focus on building relations, because it's building relations that will change families and institutions. And that's exactly what Muhammad ﷺ did. He didn't say, Bilal, you become the mu'adhin. Abu Bakr, you dig a hole here. I don't know who, you build a mosque here. That came later. The first thing he did was mu'akhat bayn al-muhajirin wal-ansar. And also the contract or the constitution that will govern the relationship between Jews, pagans and Muslims. What is he doing? He's creating, rebuilding relationships, taking off the weapons. The 78 forts that were dividing the clans and separating them from each other, within about 2-3 years were removed, were demolished, because people now know that they are in a demilitarized zone. No weapons are allowed. They love each other, they trust each other, they have a central authority, no ponds, no mosquito, a central mosque. Why do we need to fight? 2 years, 3 years after the arrival of the Prophet, then you begin to have people converting to Islam. And the Ansar increase in number, and then the majority. That's why you begin to have the Munafiqeen phenomena after Badr and Uhud. Because now the Munafiqeen have to disguise their nifaq. They were pronouncing it at the beginning when the majority were non-Muslims, but as they saw Islam sweeping through services, they began to convert. This is an introduction that has nothing to do with what I'm going to say to you now. But I thought that it's something to buy more time and to eat some grapes. The grapes will serve a purpose. I wasn't intending to eat it, but I felt I liked it, so anyway, so that's the overall theory. Let's now, I'll talk about 3 things. If you understood what I just said, what did I say? I said that a leader is not about himself. It's not about impress people about him. It's about making people's life better. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about the people. And a leader is effectively a servant. Okay, that's basically what I said. And I gave you examples. If that is the case, then show me, what are the characteristics of a leader? Well, there are many characteristics, but I just want to focus on 3 that are so passionate to me and that genuinely I believe in. And I thought I would not talk about anything that I genuinely does not excite me. I mean, there are wonderful things that I can be excited about, you know, this idea, this story, this, but I chose the most 3 because they are most valuable to me as a teacher, as a human being, as a father, as a husband, and as someone who hopes to introduce change. Okay, to me, a leader must be approachable. And I don't mean by approachability simply someone that you would not be scared of because of his big beard or his intimidating, piercing look to come close to. No, I don't mean that, although that might be part of it. But I mean a leader, approachability in the sense of feeling safe, to be vulnerable with. We do not learn in this world. We do not succeed in this world. A child does not walk in his life unless we fall, unless we fail, unless we make very silly mistakes. And a leader is someone that would not intimidate, would not judge, would not lash, would not whip, would not condemn, would not blackmail me while I am in this weak state. So a leader is a trainer. A leader is a mentor. A leader is a coach. A leader is not that big sheikh that don't shake my hand unless you make ghusl 7 times. No. Let me give you an example. And again, I'm fascinated by this story. I think about it day and night. I wake in the middle of the night, you know, I just die to know what's his name. But I would never know because the Sahaba were decent enough to disguise his name. Nonetheless, they narrated his story. That again, young man who came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, give me permission to commit adultery or have an affair. Now, I tell you something. I don't know if there were brothers and sisters who worked in these helplines. Now, picture that. If you receive a phone call in the middle of the night and you are volunteering in this helpline organization or phone calls, and someone said, listen, I want to commit suicide. What would you say to him? If I am ignorant, stupid, and idiot, I say, well, if you made up your decision, why the heck are you calling me? This person who's thinking of committing suicide, yes, he is actually on the brink of wanting to commit a suicide. But he is struggling because, let's suppose he's a Muslim. He's struggling because he knows that what he is doing is haram and is unacceptable. So something in him saying to him, don't do it. But yet something so powerful, perhaps equally powerful, more powerful, saying to him, there is no hope if you continue to live till tomorrow. So you might as well take your life. So he has 2 tracks. Either he does it or he goes to someone that he feels it is safe to be vulnerable to and open up everything about himself and take off his shirt, show his weakness, and say, I'm thinking of committing suicide, on the hope that this person will tap into his vulnerability and perhaps be able to talk some sense in him other than, fear Allah, if you commit suicide, you are going to hellfire, because he knows very well that if he committed suicide, he will go to hellfire, but he wanted to hear something else. Back to the boy. When the boy goes to Muhammad ﷺ and says, Ya Rasulullah, give me permission to commit adultery. Do you think that this boy doesn't have a clue that committing adultery is haram? Living in Medina? So why on earth If you want to commit it, go and commit it. If you don't want to commit it, why do you want the permission? Well, I don't want the permission. I know very well that he would never give me the permission. I am simply approaching him because I feel he's the only safe, cool guy in the society that when I tell him I want to commit an affair, he would not judge me. Now stop. Zoom the camera. Get the companions out of the picture because the companions are not getting that. Only al-Rasul, indeed the safe person, the leader, he is getting it. Udnu minni, come closer. The camera is focusing, following on the face. Two people are in the lens now. Forget about the companions. They are too angry to appear. Focus on the two. Udnu minni. And then, questions. Brother, I'm thinking of committing suicide. Fine. Why? Since when? What's the problem? Questions. And then, active listening. Don't interrupt. Don't say it's haram. How dare you? I was with this girl. I was this. Listen, 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 listen. And then interject, intervene. The interjection will be psychologically acceptable because he's opening it up to you. He's not being on the defense. He knows that you understand him, you appreciate him, you are not disgusted by whatever he's going to say. Not that you condone what he is thinking about, but you want to interject, but not now. Listen, 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 and then ask questions. And let him answer. Don't you answer on his behalf. So it's not that, would you like it to your mother? Of course not. You don't ask and then answer. Muhammad says, of course not, you would not accept. No, I want to listen it from you. Would you accept it for your mother? He says, no. Would you accept it for your sister? No, no, no. The more he says no, 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 psychologically he is buying into the shift that you want him to get to. You got me here, brother. I cannot say yes. And then, with his hand, not disgusted, not that you are someone potentially a fornicator, express the expression. No, you are so pure that you merit my pure hand to come on your chest and you merit my dua. And here we see the total shift. And the Sahaba tell us that this boy never had attention towards girls or fornication or adultery. What a radical shift. Now please, I don't want you now to go and whenever someone says I'm dating, you say, would you like it for your mother, brother, sister, etc., because it might not work. If someone came and said, I'm a homosexual, you can't say, would you like it to your father? It won't work. I'm sorry to say that. Don't take things literally. It worked with him because he knew the importance of honor to this Arab boy. It worked with him because Rasulullah knows every companion very well. He knows that this boy has a mother, has a sister, has an aunt. Because would you like it for your sister? Ya Rasulullah, I don't have a sister. The fact that no, 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 no means that every single female member in the hadith, he has. What's the point? The point is you need to ask intelligent questions based on your concrete, genuine understanding of the culture of that teenager. So, I smoke. I don't think it will work if you say, don't you know that smoking is haram? And sometimes you want to be more cool. Oh, smoking will get you lung cancer. It won't work for a teenager. I thought about what is it that would work. I don't know. I never was a teenager. I was never a smoker. But then perhaps in the tube I was thinking what a good example it might be. Oh, I will tell him smoking will make you have bad breath. And girls don't like that. I can take bubble gum, strawberry flavor, mint flavor, excellent, it will work. Yes, but smoking on the long run will affect your stamina, and that will not be good for you when you get married. I don't know anything that will hit him, punch him, click with him. In the same way that, would you like it for your mother? Would you like it for your sister? Would you like it for your aunt? So I hope you understand. The point is, without elaborating too much, is that it's about enabling people to be vulnerable. This is water. I know you know this. But say I go to a mosque and do this. Don't worry, brother moved his, it won't reach you, so don't worry. And it's water. And we need water. Suppose I go and do this on the carpet of any mosque. What will happen to me? I will go to St. Mary's Hospital. Okay? And if someone came, what the heck are you doing? I say, it's only water. Who are you? I mean, what if I say, do this? And another brother comes, what the heck are you doing? I say, it's only urine. So what's happening here is that I'm being stupid, I'm being an idiot, I'm being vulnerable. Vulnerable, by the way, means exposing yourself to criticism, attack, insult, emotional or physical abuse. That's what vulnerable means. So that person, when he said, I want to commit adultery, he was making himself vulnerable. Don't you have shame? What are you talking about? This what the companions were doing. Okay? So this person here chose to urinate in the mosque. When you are in the bathroom, this is the peak of your vulnerability, isn't it not? That's why you shut the door. This person, and please, without being disgusted, imagine the entire scenario. To urinate, you need to undress, to uncover, to become semi-naked, whatever. And you need just to do it. He chose to do it in a public space in the presence of people. He was making himself vulnerable. You could have attacked him, you could have kicked him, you could have pushed him, you could have took him from his hair, if he had hair, and thrown him outside of the mosque. Why? Because he made himself vulnerable, and you intervened in this vulnerability, exploiting that. Rasulullah said, no, let him complete his vulnerability when he is, after he's done with his vulnerability, bring him to me. Why? Because when someone is vulnerable, he needs to express that before you can talk to him. But if you intervene, kick him out, he might not come back again. Whatever you will say, he will not listen. After he was done, he was brought to Muhammad ﷺ, and then he was in a state of mind to listen. Now tell me whatever you want to tell me. I'm just simply telling you, don't do that again. That's it. So that's with regards to being approachable. That's my understanding of being approachable. Kamal, how much time we have? 20 minutes, Jazakallah khair. Okay, the other thing, the other point. This is quite a difficult one. I don't know how to say it, but let me try. I have the title Powerful Communicator, but I would give it another title. Charisma, presence, nonverbal communication. Something that you cannot capture merely through words. You have to be there to witness it. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me give you an example. Let me tell you from the outset. You come across many stories of brief encounters between someone and a Rasulullah whereby the conversation is fine, is okay, but it doesn't make sense why this person changed so quickly. So, for example, who are you? I am Muhammad. What do you call for? I call for La ilaha illallah and belief in me. Is that all what you call for? Yes. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. We don't get that in the real world, do we? Why? I think you would not understand the impact of the conversation just by reading the words. Because that companion who became a companion was not just listening to the words, but he was also witnessing things that you, just merely reading the text, will never witness. He was reading non-body language. He was reading a voice. He was reading facial expressions. Have you ever wondered what they meant when they said, this is not a face of a liar? By Allah, tell me how a liar looks. Because we have very damn well liars these days, politicians, etc. So what is it? Eye contact? Have you seen Unsuspected? I don't know, this movie Unsuspected Criminal. A criminal that looks you deep in the eye and he's lying day and night. I don't know what this is not a face of a liar means, but he knows what he meant when he saw it. So let me give you an example. Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, one of the big mushriks. He came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Muhammad, let me before that just ask you, if someone came to me and said, listen, you've been coming to this JIMAS Conference, on an annual basis, talking about Allah, talking about Islam. I know you very well. Really, you are not religious. You are just doing it for business, for show, for fame. So tell me, what is it that you want? If you want to get married, I can get you married. If you want money, tell me, I can just write a check. From the fundraising, they raised 100,000, I can secure 50,000 from them. That was a silly joke, but I'm just telling you. What is it? Fame, YouTube, TV, etc., etc. The moment this person says to me that you are coming here for a worldly intention, I will cut him, if not cut his neck. Correct? Now this Utbah ibn Rabi'ah does exactly the same with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Says, Ya Muhammad, what is it with you? You want fame, we give you. You want girls, we give you. You want money, we give you. And he started enumerating, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is listening and listening, active listening. Incidentally, active listening is not doing. Active listening is really, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Crap, but tell me more. I'm sorry to say that, but he's showing, this is my own expression, he's showing that he is actively interested in whatever you have to say, even if it was whatever. And then, أَفَرَغْتَ يَا أَبَا الْوَلِيدِ, are you done? Then listen to me. حميم تنزيل من الرحمن الرحيم كتاب فصلت آياته قرآنا عربيا لقوم يعلمون بشيرا ونذيرا فأعرض أكثرهم فهم لا يسمعون. And then he continues to read and read and read, and then he reaches فإن أعرضوا فقل أنذرتكم صاعقة مثل صاعقة عاد وثمود. Please, أناشدك الرحم, please stop. And then he goes, Utbah, blue face, red face, all the rainbows on his face, going to Quraysh. What the heck? What happened to you, Utbah? He said to me words that I could not bear, could not tolerate. These are only 13 verses. Now, I ask you, if I read these 13 verses to you, would you go black, white, red? You will fall asleep, perhaps. You say, well, because he was an Arab. No! But because the way he said it, which you will never be able to listen to, and only Utbah listened to, is what created these colors. Non-verbal communication. The facial expressions when Rasulullah is talking about Ad. The white teeth when he opens his mouth and says, Sa'iqa, Sama, Ardh, eyes, piercing eyes. Utbah is listening. Rasulullah is talking. This you will never capture. And this is exactly what they meant when they said, this is not a face of a liar. So, let me give you another example. Addas, in At-Ta'if, Rasulullah goes to At-Ta'if, his feet bleeds, and then he meets Addas. Addas is a Christian boy who is sent by the sons of Utbah Ibn Rabi'a. The sons of Utbah ibn Rabi'a, by the way, are from Mecca, but had a house in At-Ta'if, because At-Ta'if was a pleasant summer resort with dates and plants. So rich people in Mecca usually buy houses in At-Ta'if. So the two sons of Utbah, were actually spending at that time, when Rasulullah was in At-Ta'if, were spending their time in that house. So they saw Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is Muhammad from Mecca. What is he doing here? Oh, talking about Islam. He's bleeding. And then, of course, out of sympathy, because they are from the same tribe, etc., etc. He's from my city. Imagine in the North Atlantic, you are from Manchester, you see someone from Manchester, you know, that's from Manchester, whatever. So they ask Addas. Addas is a Christian boy. He goes with the cross on his chest. And by the way, in At-Ta'if and Mecca, there were Christians, usually are from Iraq and Syria. So Addas goes. He comes with grapes. So he goes with grapes given to him by the sons of Utbah, who had grapes trees, because At-Ta'if is known for grapes and dates, etc. So he goes. And the Rasul takes the grapes and says, Bismika Allahumma, and he eats. And then look at this conversation. What is your name? My name is Addas. Where are you from? I am from Nineveh. Nineveh, the city of Yunus bin Matta. You know Yunus bin Matta? He is my brother. He is a prophet. And so am I. Pose. Let's focus the camera on Utbah's sons. Their eyebrows, looking at Addas and Rasulullah, eyebrows again. Remember? 2 meters above their eyes. Looking at Addas fall, kiss the hands of Muhammad and becomes a Muslim. Again, when I come and understand this story, if I met someone Christian on the underground and said, where are you from? I'm from London. Oh, London. This is where Tony Blair comes from, right? Yeah, I'm from Arabistan. You know Arabistan? I like Manchester United. It won't work. Okay, have some grapes. It won't work. The point is that Rasulullah, when he was asking him, what is your name, was looking him into the eyes. When he was asking him, where are you from, he wasn't looking at his watch. He was not checking his iPhone. He was not texting or tweeting. He was interested in knowing his name. He was interested in knowing the city. And the moment he knew that it was Nineveh, it was as if really Rasulullah was talking about a brother. Not just showing off that he knows geography and religion and history. He is my brother. And Addas could see that, could watch that. This you will never capture in the conversation. Do you understand what I'm getting? I'm getting at the voice of the Quran. I'm getting at the facial expressions. I'm getting at the very way in which we speak. They say that 50% of what impacts audiences are body language. 38 is the tone of our voice. Only 7% is related to our words. And in any hadith, unfortunately, we read just about the 7%. Okay, I'm done. Just a third feature, and then I'm done. The third thing is creativity. And creativity here, I mean thinking outside the box and being remarkable by exceeding the expectation of those who are suffering from that problem which they need your help in solving. When Quraysh was struggling to rebuild the Kaaba, they built it perfectly well, but they struggled over as to where to position the black stone, right? This was the remaining thing. The devil is in the details. You packed, you did everything, you just forgot, you know, you began to fight with your wife over a single pen that was lost. They did the same. For days and days and nights, they were struggling. Who would position the black stone? And then one gentleman, senior in age, said, we just have to have someone who's an outsider. Someone who might help us. So anyone who will come from Dar al-Safa, we will ask for his help. And sure enough, it was Rasul sallam at that time aged only 32. Okay, good enough. Sadiq al-Amin. And then he comes, they explain the problem on the spot. Creativity, by the way, expresses itself in two ways. You can spend 2 years to be creative, or you can show creativity instantly. It's called thinking on your feet. Okay? That's why, if correctly mentioned, that's why Bernard Shaw said, if Muhammad was alive, he could solve the global issues while he was drinking a cup of coffee. What he meant is that he can just do it instantly, like he bleaks or like I kick a football. I don't have to struggle to be creative because it's a way of life. I do it all the time, even if subconsciously. So Rasulullah said, bring a piece of cloth, put the black stone in the middle, everyone carries a bit, level it up, and then I'll take it, and then he positions it. 3 things. First, creativity is not necessarily creating something from scratch, but using things that people use, but have used for so long that they can't figure out a new way to use these things. So for example, do you remember when I told you that they used to uncover to carry stones? Do you remember? So they know that we carry stones with cloth, with izar. They know this, but they do it, they think there is only one way and they need to uncover. Rasulullah showed them another way where they do not need to uncover. Do you understand? So I can use your izar, but just give me another one. Keep yours, give me another one, and all of us now will carry the cloth. To me, that's creativity. Using old tools, but in a way that have never been thought before. This is true remarkableness. What I'm trying to tell you is that in this society, you can show the West and the British and the American and the European that you can use the same tools, the banking, the whatever, but you need to tweak it a little bit in such a creative way to make it morally acceptable to both of us. The second thing, which is fascinating, is that when you establish enough credibility and people like you, they will actually forget about their rights and give you the right to position the black stone by you. Because at the end of the day, it was really a win-win situation. At the end, Rasulullah won by him only putting the black stone. But he could only do that. And the people around him could only accept that if he has established enough moral authority and credibility to get a little bit of personal gain. I am done, really, I am done. So thank you so much. I've got more, but I am done. I'm sweating, I'm hot, you are sweating, you are hot. So let's conclude. Thank you so much.